Hey, yo, what up? Welcome back to Markman Comics. My name is Rob Markman. This is the channel where I just share my love and my passion for comic books, comic art, comic collecting, and all of that. So appreciate each and every one of you who subscribe, who like, who watch, who leave comments, man. Like, it's been really fun just working on this channel. So want to talk about this thing, man. Back in July, we got news that Robert Downey Jr. will be returning to the MCU to play Dr. Doom. Right? Y'all remember that. Yesterday, Variety reported that Chris Evans, who famously played Steve Rogers' Captain America, not to be confused with Sam Wilson's Captain America, well, Chris Evans is returning for a yet unknown role in Avengers Doomsday, which is slated to premiere in May 2026. Of course, Dr. Doom is going to be in Doomsday. Robert Downey Jr., now Chris Evans, we know is going to be in Doomsday. We don't know who he's going to play. I'm a betting man it's Captain America or some type of Captain America variant, right? But we don't know. Also, the Russo brothers are directing. Of course, they did Infinity War and they did Endgame. So Marvel, Kevin Feige is getting the gang back together, right, for another blockbuster. I just want to be clear. The type of fan that I am, I'm going to see Doomsday regardless of what I'm about to say in this video, right? I've never missed an MCU film. Like, I go to the theaters to see them all, even Eternals, right? Even the bad ones. But I got criticism here for sure, right? And as a fan, I'm really scratching my head, and I want to know what y'all think. So let me know in the comments. But this move tells me that Marvel never really had any real direction after Endgame. The stories that they were trying to build just don't seem to be sticking. And now they're going back to the success that they had in the first place with Russo's and RDJ and Chris Evans. Like, now they're playing off of nostalgia because the new isn't working. I think Robert Downey is amazing, an amazing actor. His role as Iron Man was iconic. But I'm very skeptical of him playing Dr. Doom and maybe protective of Doom, right? The fact is Doom is the most iconic villain in Marvel. And Thanos was always one of my favorites. I grew up on Infinity Gauntlet, so that was the era that Jim Starlin, Ron Lim era, that Silver Surfer era, that, you know, those cosmic stories of the 90s, and so I love Thanos from that. But, you know, if we're being real, Thanos in the comics just wasn't the villain that Doom is. Like the depiction of Thanos on the big screen really made Thanos into a much bigger thing in pop culture than he was. Outside of comic book collectors, nobody really knew who Thanos was before the movies, right? And the movies made him bigger. Doom is the most iconic Marvel villain, and they never got him right in the previous Fantastic Four movies. And here's a chance to really give Doom the depiction that he deserves, right, in the MCU. And I don't think it does the character justice to look at that screen and see Tony Stark. And that rings true, especially if Doom is somehow, because we don't know the storyline, but if Doom is a Tony Stark variant, you know, if the MCU Doom ends up being a Tony Stark variant, you know, it's going to be tough. We're going to be looking at Doom, but we see Tony Stark and it's tied to Tony Stark, and Doom deserves to be his own thing, his own entity, not tied or tethered to someone else. And even if they just cast RDJ to actually play a new character, because he's an amazing actor, he has range, there's CGI, Doom wears a mask for most of it, there's still a high chance that we associate him with RDJ and then associate him with Stark, because there's still voice, there's still movement, there's still mannerisms, right? So, you know, you'll still, even if Doom is a completely different character, you'll still see RDJ in there, and then you associate it with Tony Stark, just, you know, based off of your nostalgia. Now, Chris Evans returning as an unknown character, I'm just assuming it's Captain America or some type of variant. As much as I love Chris Evans' Cap, I'm just wondering if it's better that Marvel just moves on and puts in the real work to invest in new characters that the audience will fall in love with. I mean, Tom Holland Spider-Man to me is like next in line. So more Spider-Man stories, more, you know, just entrenching Spider-Man within the MCU could be a way, right? Chris Evans did come back. You know, I don't want to be a hypocrite because we loved it. Chris Evans did come back to the MCU in Deadpool Wolverine, and it was really perfect the way that they did it, because the movie didn't take itself so seriously. The movie kept poking fun at the multiverse anyway. Like that was kind of the brilliance of Deadpool and Wolverine. It was a bit ridiculous. I always say this too about the multiverse. When they first started, I told a group of friends this. It's a great concept, but even in the comic books, it becomes a crutch to write out mistakes, to correct chances that you took, or story or swings that you took that you shouldn't have taken in the first place. That was probably a bad idea. So even within the comic book, the multiversal stories in a lot of ways became crutch. And, in the movies, it's the same thing. But, going back to Deadpool Wolverine, it was funny because they poked fun at just the problems with the multiverse. And so we thought we were getting the Captain America cameo, the way they set it up. And they flipped it on us and gave us Chris Evans' version of Johnny Storm from the old Fantastic Four movies. It was really like a funny twist, and just poking fun at the way superhero movies are now and what they've become, and how one actor can play both the Human Torch and Captain America, and the audience is supposed to suspend disbelief. Because even though Human Torch wasn't in the MCU, pretty sure the crossover audience that saw those first Captain America and Avengers movies also saw Fantastic Four. So you're suspending disbelief, right? But cool, it's Hollywood, it's actors. Actors get paid to act different roles. Chris Evans did an amazing job, iconic job as Captain America. But that scene and kind of what they did with him in Deadpool Wolverine was perfect. I'm assuming that Doomsday is a more serious movie with a more serious tone. So, I don't think it's going to have that funny effect, but we'll see. It's also a trick that we've seen before, right? In Spider-Man No Way Home, by bringing back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and then also Alfred Molina as Doc Ock and William Dafoe as Green Goblin, like playing off of this nostalgia. But how many times now is the MCU going to pull that trick? It was cool when we saw it in No Way Home, but how many times are they going to keep doing this trick? The answer is as long as it keeps working. Which kind of goes back to my statement earlier when I said, hey, I'm going to buy these tickets anyway. That's the answer. That's why Marvel is doing it, because we're gonna go to see it anyway. But it does concern me about the future of the MCU if they're like moving backwards. The fact is, though, look, RDJ, Chris Evans, the Russo brothers and their success is going to be huge at the box office draws. More so RDJ and Chris Evans, they're more recognizable names. Huge box office draw, and and the Russos have proven success. But the move just seems to maybe wanting to correct the mistakes of flooding the post-Endgame movies with too many characters, too many stories, too many Disney Plus shows, and then teasing that it'll all tie together, but with no real actual plan to make it make sense. I still don't know how the Eternals are gonna fit in. That was a mistake. I think that we're gonna act like that didn't happen, but there's gonna be a piece of that. It feels like in Brave New World, and we're gonna explain how we get adamantium. But we just sat through almost a 3-hour movie just to explain how we get adamantium in the MCU. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Wakanda Forever, which I enjoyed, that couldn't be helped, man. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. He passed, and I thought it was a great way to honor him. But what's happening with the Young Avengers, the Hawkeye series and Kate Bishop and Miss Marvel, like recruiting her, like what's going on there? When does that get tied together? The end of Eternals, like, with Black Knight and then Blade, we get the Blade voice over at the end, and the Blade movie is like in perpetual, like, will it or won't it happen? You know what I'm saying? So they cast all these lines out there, and it just doesn't seem like a path to tie it together. And the MCU is in the place of confusion, right? Like, we don't know where this thing is going, and it kind of feels like, to distract us, it's like, all right, just bring Robert Downey back, bring Chris Evans back, bring the Russo brothers back. Let's just get butts and seats. Let's kill these box office numbers. But what is the actual story going to be? I guess we got to wait and see. I'm not hating, but man, I'm skeptical as hell. So I want to know what y'all think, man. Hit me in the comments, like, subscribe, hit me in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about Chris Evans returning to the MCU. Are y'all excited? Do you think it's gonna be Captain America? I think it's gonna be Captain America or Captain America variant, but y'all gotta let me know. All right, we're gonna talk about it in the comments. To the next one. Peace.